We're Pastor New Hope Community Church in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we're digging into the book of Genesis, and we're on part 2, so we're picking up Genesis chapter 3, verse 8, and it says that they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, the man and his wife. This is after they've eaten of the forbidden fruit, which, by the way, it never says it's an apple. It says a forbidden fruit, and they heard him walking in the garden in the cool of the day, the man and his wife, and they hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. So isn't this pretty typical that we would hide ourselves from the one person who can fix things? In verse 7 here it says, their eyes were opened, they knew that they were naked, and so they sewed fig leaves together and tried to make for themselves coverings, a lousy attempt to try to cover up what has been broken. And so it's kind of reminiscent of a child breaking a lamp. They can't fix the lamp, but they can hide the lamp, and this is what they're attempting to do. They heard God, and they hid from him. Then God shows up, and he calls out to the man and says to him, where are you? It's not as if the all-knowing God doesn't know where they are. It's more of a statement of like, hey, where's your head? You know, this is not in your character to hide from me. So what's going on here? And he said, I heard you. Adam responds, I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself. Well, God automatically is aware that since you know that you are naked and you have defined yourself that way, he said, you must have eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat. And then begins the blame game. And so Adam's response is, well, the woman did it. And by the way, it's the woman that you gave me. She's the one who made me do it. And of course, then God looks to the woman, and he asks her about it, and she said, well, it wasn't me. It was that serpent who did it. He tricked me. He deceived me, and then I ate. So it's not my fault. I would present to you and suggest to you that the blame game is something that is just born out of sin. And I think that we all fall prey to it sometimes, whether we're the one pointing the finger or we're the one on the receiving end of pointing a finger. And I just suggest to you that if that's in your life and you have control over it, then stop doing it. It is definitely a result of our sin nature where you want to blame somebody else. And so then the Lord God said to the serpent, so he now responds to the serpent, because you have done this, because you've deceived the woman, cursed are you more than all the cattle. So God pronounces a curse on the serpent. Cursed are you more than all cattle, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you will go, and you will eat, and dust you will eat all the days of your life. So there's a thought process that prior to this, that this serpent, whatever it was, had legs and feet and walked, and now it's become a snake. So it has no legs, and so crawls around on its belly. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise you on the head, and you shall bruise him on the heel. This is where we begin to see the results of the sin and the solution to the sin. Because God is stating here, we have already stated that the serpent is Satan. And so there will be hatred between the serpent and the woman, and between the serpent's seed. In the original language, this is plural, so all of the people who will follow in the footsteps of evil, and her seed, which this is actually singular. So there is one child that she will have who will rise up to do battle with all of the seed of the enemy. And it says, he shall bruise you on the head, and you shall bruise him on the heel. So the seed of the woman will crush the head of the serpent, but the serpent will cause damage to the seed of the woman. Or rather, his seed will cause damage to the seed of the woman. So there is an epic battle that is being pronounced here. Victory is being stated, and it's being stated by, it will be won by the singular seed of the woman Eve. Okay, so we see the introduction of the plan that uh, the coming Messiah, Mashiach, the Jesus, when he shows up, he will be the one to bruise or crush the head of the serpent, even though he will receive a wound from the serpent.